Welcome to the Daily Word, verse by verse. Grab your Bibles and follow along as we study the book of Hebrews. Keep in mind, I am using the Holman Christian Standard Bible. So if you're using a different translation, the read is different, but the message is the same. Also keep in mind that these Daily Word, verse by verse studies are uploaded to my YouTube channel, BP, that's BP, the Bible Perspective. BP, the Bible Perspective. So like and share these videos and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. Okay, we're in chapter 5. We're going to pick it up at verse number 5. Having revealed the very true nature of Jesus Christ, he is the expression, right? The exact expression of God's radiance, right? Of his glory, of his nature. He says he is, in verse 4, he is then of higher rank than the angels. Now remember, angels have great regard. Every group that the writer, not only the group, keep in mind, remember this letter is going to methodically dismantle the Jewish arguments, the stability of why they practice their religion. And even though they didn't worship angels, there's no question that they knew that God, through angels, administered the revelation of the law. So now he is saying that the administration of angels is inferior to what God is speaking. Remember, he spoke different times, different ways to the fathers, but he has spoken to his son. That is superior. So everything about the law, practices, the religion, the work of Christ is superior. All right. So, verse 4, he says, so he became higher rank in the angel just as the name he inherited is superior to theirs, meaning angels. So if he said angels, angel, in other words, if he was in a group of crowd and there was angels, everybody would be like in awe listening to the angel, right? In some cases, they would even try to worship the angel. The angel would rebuke them. True angels would rebuke them. But if Jesus came along, they would see the angels worshiping Jesus. Now, I want to show you that in a moment. In other words, he's superior to them. So then, watch this because this is very important. Verse 5, for to which of the angels did he ever say, you are my son? Today I have become your father. Or again, I will be his father, and he will be my son. And when he again brings his firstborn into the world, he says, and all of God's angels must worship him. And about the angels, watch this. We'll come back to verse 7 now. But notice the analogy here. He says, so now he says, this is what he says about the son. Verses 1 through 3, we already know what he says about the son. But then he says, so to which of the angels he said, you are my son. In other words, you cannot make that argument. Now, the word son here is very important because it doesn't mean a parent-child relationship, but an equal relationship as one that is mature and of equal status in partnership with the father. So, in other words, when you think about, say, a business, right? Williams and Sons Heating, right? Smith and Sons Law Firm. That term sons connotes that the sons are mature, right? And hold equal positions with the father in the business. Okay? All right? So when he says right here, you are my son, this is what he says about Jesus. Okay? Now, if you're Jews, you can also say, okay, so who does this fit? When he says, you are my son, because now the writer, again, methodically uses this term, you are my son, who fits that? So he says, now, by the way, all the way to the end of the chapter, he is stringing together several Psalms. So this comes right out of the Psalms, their Old Testament law. So you can point to the law here and you can say, this is what the law says. So this is not even new revelation. What the writer is doing is saying, here's what your own law says. And they can read that. in the book of Psalms. Psalms 2, Psalm 104. These different string of Psalms that he said, they're very familiar with this. So which of the, he says, today you have become, I will be his father, and he will be my son. And when he brings the firstborn into the world, he says, and all of God's angels must worship him. Again, Psalm 97, right? And so if you are a Jew, this should cause you to take note, right? Yeah, the Psalm said that. Verse 7 says, and about the angels, he says, he makes his angels winds and his servants a flame of fire. So remember, angels are only servants. Angels are only messengers. So he's making the contrast. Now remember, he's making the contrast to methodically break down their thought process and their esteem of the Mosaic law. Verse 8, but to the Son, your throne, O God, okay, where is this at? I got 104, Psalm 104. Okay, then it says, your throne, O God, your throne, God, is forever and ever. A scepter of your kingdom is the scepter of justice. You have loved righteousness and hated lawlessness. This is why God, your God, has anointed you with the oil of joy rather than your companions. And in the beginning, Lord, you established the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. They will perish, but you will remain. They will wear out like clothing. You will roll them up like a cloak, and they will be changed like a robe. But you are the same, and your years will never end. Now to which of the angel has he ever said, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool? Are they not all ministering spirits sent out to serve those who are going to inherit the salvation? Now, some people hang on to this as a promise. You keep that in context, because what do you mean by that he served? What he is saying is that the nature of angels or that of servants. Now, here's another interesting thing right here, because Jehovah's Witnesses and their false doctrine say or try to make Jesus an angel. In some cases, there are people who try to even say that Jesus is Michael the archangel. False teaching. That's why, again, this is so clear, because he said, no. The angels' role in creation as God has set them is clear and distinctive from Jesus. So there's no way you can mix them up. No way. Unless you're purposely trying to do that. And they do. Which makes their sin even greater. Because the distinctions are clear. The angels are ministering spirits. He said, even the minister to those who are going to inherit salvation. So the difference is, to Jesus he says, you are my son, sit at my right hand. Now, of course, the term right hand means equal, this high power or position, right? It was a term used, the right hand of power, not the left hand, but the right hand. If I was going to bless, I would do it with my right hand of power. So Jesus occupies this, and again, from a human perspective, as he's making the argument, that's why he's doing this here. So Jesus is superior to angels in their roles, in their positions, in everything. This is what God has said to the angels. Your ministering spirits, your servants, your messengers. To the Son, he has said, to the Son, he has said, you are my son. Again, this equal term, equal. And that the eternal Son has occupied an eternal place with God. That what? He is the creator of the universe. All things were created by the Son, for the Son. Now the Son manifests himself in the earth realm, showing he is the exact image. This is what he's revealing. He's here to reveal the very nature of God. Now, in John 1:17, he says, no one has ever seen God, but the Son, who's at the bosom of the Father, has revealed him. So now, God said this in the book of Psalms. As I said, so methodically, he's tearing down their argument. He said this in the Psalms. So the first group is he tears down the angelic host. Not tear him down, but the argument. In other words, what he's tearing down is the Jewish perception of it. See? And the fact that then Jesus could not be in any way, you could not link in any kind of way Jesus to an angel. And there are teachings out there that do that. Okay, guys, chapter 2 in the next video. I will see you then.